ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite our guest speaker to come and tell us how they did it in Ireland.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for a warm welcome last night and today to be here. I want to thank the Governor, Mr. Hermosan, and the First Lady for their kindness, and all of the distinguished guests. The protocols have been done earlier, but particularly the governors, all the members of the Legislative Council, and those from the Senate that I've met, and all of the distinguished panellists, of course, and your Nobel laureate. Can I particularly say it was so nice to meet so many people in this audience during the various breaks, the lunch and the coffee break, who have been in Ireland, many of them who've lived in Ireland, many of them who I've met in different locations in Ireland. I did not think in this beautiful state that I'd meet so many of them, so a special welcome to you, and also some Irish business people who are working in this area. I'd like to, I've been given a fairly long slot of time, so I hope to be able to go through a fair bit of the items that was asked, particularly hitting the foreign direct investment, but it is really great to be here and to be associated with this conference on investment in this beautiful state. I've come from Ireland, as many of you know, a small country on the geographic periphery of the European Union, and the population of the Republic of Ireland is just about 4.6 million, which seems very small in comparison with the size of Nigeria, with your 150, 160 million citizens. And I know that here in this state you have experienced a rapid population growth over the last 2 decades, which is often a pre-indicator of economic growth, and your population will be soon be similar or maybe above that of my own country. I've started off by talking about population size for a very specific reason, and that is because I just want to nail a myth that's often made. I think just because any state or any country is not the largest state, we're not the largest state in Europe, and you're not the largest state in Nigeria, but that does not mean that in any way inhibits success. Success in economics, in business and in trade is dependent on location, it's dependent on human resources, it's dependent on confidence, and most importantly, having the right strategies and the political courage to see them through, and obviously having the political leadership. Your state has all of these qualities, and I can say from my long experience of politics, because I see so many of the same qualities that underlined our success right here in your beautiful state. I sincerely believe that if you stick on the path you're currently on, there's a fantastically bright future for the people here, and you can transform the economic fortunes of a generation, which I know you've taken on the challenge based on all the success you already have and all the companies and industries and facilities that you have. Just want to talk first about Ireland, and I know this is a maiden edition of the Ogun State Investors Forum, and it's especially focused on inward investment, and that you're open for business. And in Ireland, though we're small in size, this is something that over the last 30, 40 years we know a fair bit about. Even today, after the euro crisis and our own economic difficulties with the banking crisis, Ireland is ranked as the second best country in the entire world for foreign direct investment by the NIB, Foreign Direct Intelligence Inward Investment Performance Monitor. We in Ireland are also ranked as the second most globalised economy in the world, which means we're an open economy at the cutting edge of the best practices of foreign direct investment. And I want to share with you some of the lessons that I have learned from our success in establishing itself as a world leader, as an international hub for investment. And in spite the downturn, in spite the last 4 years of difficulty since the autumn of 2008, still in terms of investment, we continue to do very well. I want to again just look at some of the strong perspectives on what needs to be done for a country to succeed in today's modern global economy, which is competitive and fast-moving, as we all know. To do that, maybe I should begin by telling you just a little bit about myself. I was until last year a member of the Irish Parliament. I was there since 1977. I served 34 years in the National Parliament. I also spent 18 of the last 25 years at the Irish Cabinet table. I first was served in government as Chief Whip. I subsequently served in many ministries, Minister for Labour or Minister for Employment, and then I was appointed on 3 successive occasions over a relatively short period as Minister of Finance. I was Leader of the Opposition, and in '97 I was elected Prime Minister of Ireland as a Taoiseach, as many of your members said to me today. I won 3 successive general elections, which had not been done in Ireland since World War II. And although I was Prime Minister for almost 11 years, I left that position in 2008, and as been said, I was President of the European Council back in 2004 during the Irish presidency. It's fair to say that I've been involved in Irish and European politics at a time of great challenge and change. And when I was back as Lord Mayor of my native city, we had many difficulties in the city of Dublin. We had many difficulties. We had the lowest standard of living in Western Europe, and while we've had difficulties since, I was glad that the day that I left the position of Prime Minister, we had the 2nd highest standard of living in Europe, and we were able to create an enormous amount of jobs, and we had a very low national debt. We had a big spend on infrastructure. We had the fastest growth in the OECD countries in spending per capita in health, and we had very generous tax and welfare breaks. We did, of course, subsequently, in following Lehman's and the international crisis, many of our good statistics were reversed in the last few years, but still it has not affected, I think, the fact that we still have about 1.8 million people, which is still about 600,000-700,000 more than in the days when I was Minister for Labour. Because of the progress that the Irish economy made during those boom years, we're still renowned as a good place to do international business, and we were ranked 6th in the world for ease of doing business. I'll come back to that later, because I think that's just a hugely important issue when we're talking about this. And despite the Eurozone recession and our banking positions, Ireland's pro-business environment continues to generate jobs and growth in the economy. On top of the reports I cited earlier, Governor, another important international report looked at by captains of industry at every investment house in every financial district of the world, namely the IBM Global Location Trends report. Ireland has been ranked at the top global destination for foreign direct investment in terms of the value of the projects and the investments it attracts. And we topped that league table ahead of South Korea in 2nd place, followed by Taiwan, Austria, Switzerland, reflecting the high-value nature of Ireland's foreign direct investment, which is dominated by the life sciences and the electronics industry. Conscious the Minister of Communications will be talking later. The same report puts Ireland 2nd only to Singapore, nation which creates the most jobs per capita, which I know is what the Governor wants to do. So, as a small nation with a population like your own, how can you become a global leader in terms of direct investment? And that's what I want to try and touch on today. I want to share with you some of those lessons that I learned as Prime Minister, some good, some bad, in managing one of Europe's most successful economies during that period from '97 through to 2008. And while, as I say, we've suffered badly by the global recession, it does not take away some of those successes, but obviously staying positive, we're still enjoying extraordinary success in business and FDI, and I think the first thing is that what any country can do, you can do better, and I think we've just heard that message from the Governor himself. One of the most important recipes for success, I believe, is to be confident in yourself, and I know the Governor and all of his key people that I had the pleasure of being with last night have that. and I believe here in Nigeria, and I want to repeat this, a lot to be positive about reading all of the reports that I've seen. This decade is going to be one which may see a significant shift in the global economy. Nigeria is significantly well placed to benefit from free movement in the economic tectonic plates. Investors should be very conscious of the underlying strengths and potential of this state, and as it plays in the integral part in a very vibrant and expanding economy. I want to talk for a few minutes about the wider economic trends in Nigeria. This is hugely relevant to yourselves because this is the first thing that international investors look at, as you know. They want to know that this is a national economy that's good and a safe place to make their investments, as many of them are doing here, and the investments that they put in. The good news is that answer is unequivocally yes. I always believed in business that a wise investor needs the signals, and it gets into the market early before the rush and before prices rise, and backs a good thing heavily. And to any investor, I would say this is a time to back your instincts and invest in this country. All of the economic trends here are going to take off as an economic powerhouse and become a global leader. And Nigeria is 1/6 of the population of the entire continent of Africa, and Nigeria has a high external reserve position. And Nigeria is improving income levels in a young population, which will interest investors as it means an enhanced ability to pay for the services as you move forward. And of course, global oil and non-oil commodity prices are increasing. Investors here will know that this means public and private spending in Nigeria. We've seen that today in the infrastructural session, and that will increase as a result. There will also be increased government budgets as a consequence of increased tax yield. This all feeds into a more virtuous economic cycle, and Nigeria is already among Africa's most stable macroeconomic environments, and you're also experiencing an infrastructure revolution and an upsurge in urban development. So the signs and the growth are good, and those are intensified by the fact that with the debt crisis in Europe, in the absence of the same fiscal stresses, Nigeria should enjoy very stable inflation and interest rates. And these are among the key indicators that global financial houses look for when considering where to invest. And I know that when you look to your own state, and this shows just your real strength. And there are here present and correct in Nigeria, and investors here should take note that this is especially so in this state, which is among Nigeria's most successful, stable and pro-business locations. So the economic outlook is good for Nigeria, and this makes your state a very good investment. So can I also say from my own experience in Ireland that you really do stand on the cusp of remarkable success. The parallels that I see between Nigeria and Ireland before we emerge from years of economic difficulty post-independence are striking. We experienced rapid economic growth in the 90s, and in the first decade of the new century we experienced almost double-digit growth in that decade, and I know that the projections for Nigeria in the decade ahead are of a similar magnitude from the reports that I've read. Your real GDP growth this year will be in the order of 8%, as we saw this morning, and your trajectory towards double-digit growth means that Nigeria is on course to be one of the global economic leaders of the century, and that has been put forward by practically every credible economic organisation worldwide that have written on this subject. And just like when Ireland took off in the 90s, Nigeria is now somewhere where investors are increasingly, and we've heard the long list of big investors that are already here making a good return on their investment, and the Governor focusing on what that in itself can, if managed equitably, drive further economic and social progress for the people of the nation. And today, Nigeria is one of the fastest growing economies in the world, and significantly it's one of the N11, what Goldman Sachs have termed the next 11. The countries identified as having the potential to be the world's largest economies of the 21st century. So this is definitely your time, a little over a half a century on from your independence in 1960, and Nigeria stands on the brink of a golden era, and it's a great credit to the ingenuity, to the perseverance and the courage of your people. You should be confident now about the future and embrace the global market, as the Governor has been urging people to do. And this is a country that can stand on its own feet and assimilate foreign direct investment and harness it for the mutual benefit of the investor and for the people here. I just want to talk briefly about 7 themes or lessons which I believe are crucial to the future success. Perhaps people would say there's far more than that, but I just want to focus on 7. Your state is enjoying unprecedented growth as a key component of the blossoming Nigerian economy. And I want to offer just a few views on how you can generate more success and attract more outside investment, which will be taking notice of the underlying economic strength that you have here and which I've touched upon in my remarks. The 7 points for future success in attracting foreign investment, and I don't think too different from what we've seen in the presentations already today. Firstly, it's positivity. It's secondly, maximising location. Thirdly, it's infrastructure. Fourthly, it's education. Fifthly, it's human resources. 6 is business-friendly culture. And 7, what we had a brilliant presentation on this morning, was on agriculture. On the first one, positivity. What do I mean when I say positivity? It's actually the confidence I spoke about at the start of my remarks. It's the yes we can do mentality, which is essential to success. It's the glass half full rather than the glass half empty. It's not looking at all the bleak sides, but believing that you can turn things to your advantage. You have great potential and resources here, but the secret of success is positivity. To believe in yourselves and to get others in your state to do so. To take your strengths and all the potential and work with it, and to build a great and fair economy. And that is positivity. Self-belief and positivity is a prerequisite for spending, for lending, and for driving business. And winning international confidence is essential to international investors choosing this wonderful state to invest in. In terms of positivity, and in doing something to generate that essential confidence, this conference today, Governor, is a hugely positive step in the right direction. It shows that you are determined to succeed and that you're not going to sit back and wait for an economic miracle. Investors appreciate hard work, and this conference shows a cutting-edge business mentality which showcases the positive selling points for potential investors here. The theme of this conference today is, of course, open for business. This extraordinary gathering at this well-organised forum sends the message out loud and clear to international investors and captains of industry that your state is not just open for business, but that the people of this state, its government and its officials are serious about creating the right climate for entrepreneurship and want to provide a genuine platform for capital raising opportunities, source partnerships, to create joint ventures with local investors and ultimately create a friendly investor climate in the state. And positivity means selling your message that this state is a good place to invest. And at this forum, you have the political leaders, you have your government officials, you have your business people, your academia, all selling this state's potential. And this is the best and the brightest coming together to promote this state and to make sure that you succeed. You have a good product to sell in this very vibrant state, if I can say, as someone just coming from outside, but reading the backgrounds of your state. You have a progressive economy, so that it's in a competitive global marketplace. You should not be shy, in my view, in portraying and pointing out to the international business community and the multinationals what you have to offer. This conference, of course, is doing that. And I know also that the State Department of Trade and Investment here is the vehicle for the state's government, international and local business development and investment promotion. And I know its officials are working hard. I met some of them yesterday, to promote foreign direct investment and attract overseas corporations looking to do business here. I believe that any help the national or state government can give the officials working on this key role is vital, because I think marketing your state's potential abroad is not just a slick public relations operation, it's an essential way of winning new investment. During my time as Irish Prime Minister, I worked very closely with the Irish Development Authority. It was our inward investment agency, who have over many, many decades done a tremendous job and are pivotal to making Ireland one of the world's leader in foreign direct investment. This is a full-time mandate of the agency. It's 250 staff across the world working day and night to bring investment to Ireland, pointing out the positives of the Irish economy. And the Investment Authority sell Ireland to investors as a place to locate, and they travel to far-flung parts of the globe to put our country on the commercial map and seek investment in my country. I can tell you from my experience as Prime Minister that resourcing such a state agency is expensive, but it pays its own weight in gold. The agency has brought home jobs and investment for Ireland, not just from traditional markets in America, Britain and the European Union, but from China, from India, from Brazil, from Russia. And I often travel to these countries with the officials to help secure these investments. In the long term, ladies and gentlemen, the investments secured by this agency, the jobs created by the agency, have been invaluable to our national life, and without its work, many investments would have gone elsewhere. And this is the reality of a world where other nations are also vying for investments. IDA Ireland has allowed us to compete, and I would encourage your policymakers to take a look at their strategies on the agency's website, and particularly the Horizon 2020 document, which targets an enormous amount of jobs, in our terms 100,000 jobs, new FDI jobs in Ireland by 2014. The second point is maximising location, and investors work on the basis of a number of factors, including knowledge, flexibility, innovation, connectiveness, all attributes shared to a huge degree by your state and the people who live here. And location is something you were born with, as the Governor has pointed out, but also something that you can maximise. We were peripherally, geographically of the European Union, but we used this to our advantage that we were the first entry point into the internal EU market for the United States. We have managed to position ourselves as a market bridge base between the continents of Europe and America, and we are helped by the fact that in Ireland we're English speaking, we're proud of our own national language, the Irish language, which is our native tongue, but the big commercial advantage that centuries of British occupation has given is that almost everybody in our country speaks English, and trade is in the English language. This is not a lesson in sociology or history. It's an important selling point for investors. The fact that Ireland is the main speaking country in the Eurozone from our position of business. Britain, with their sterling currency, opted out of the Eurozone, makes us a very attractive and convenient location for investors. But simply, English is the international language of commerce, and this gives you here in this state the same great advantage. This is a nation and a state that you can genuinely market as an English-speaking gateway to the continent of Africa, as you do. And investors should note the links with the Commonwealth through the European Union, of course. There's a strong trading links between the United States and America, which is your strongest export partner in Nigeria. And all of these are solid foundations on which to build further economic progress. In terms of gateway status, investors should also know that your state, of course, has the name of gateway state. Your location is fortuitous for international business, linked as you are so closely to Lagos with the large domestic market, 40 million or so, and your proximity to international airports and significant sea points, all of which ease travel and promote exports. And of course, your gateway status is copper-fastened by the fact that you're the major entry point into Nigeria from West Africa, and investors looking for a potential hub of economic activity in this region. I should note that the Iroka border accounts for a significant fraction of merchandise imports into Nigeria, generating revenue and economic activity. And there are great positives in your location to market and to make investors reflect on your ideal space in the biggest economy in Africa and the second biggest continent on the planet. In terms of business location of the future, your state is going to be hard to compete with. So that is an important message to get out around the world, maximising your location and tell people what a good location it is to trade and do business with. The third one is the session we had before lunch, infrastructure. I know you spoke about that in the previous session. It is so important, and I think one of the best lessons from my time as Irish Prime Minister was the success of our national economy that came from us committing to a major investment programmes in physical infrastructure. I chaired that committee on infrastructure in Ireland for 11 years on a weekly meeting, and this programme of infrastructure renewal and modernisation helped to enhance productivity and improve competitiveness in our economy. And I want to congratulate the Governor on the work in train and in planning to improve your infrastructure. And I know that Governor Musin has done so much to drive infrastructure from my conversations with him this morning. Investment in infrastructure will drive your economic growth. It will also attract foreign direct investment. And the wise investments you've made here in infrastructure are driving employment, and this in turn will increase confidence. As a visitor, I want to say it's hard not to be impressed by the scale of construction improvement works being undertaken, the plans that are there, the work in water services, your energy infrastructures to modernise the state and to make it more connected. And I wish you well with all of that work. I know that you've made what I believe is a wise policy choice in gradually shifting the emphasis from not just renewing or rehabilitating roads, but to moving towards massive road construction. And I don't need to say any more about that. We saw that in the plans this morning. The vision that you're showing now in improving your network of roads is a down payment on the future prosperity of your state. And there's a double value, of course, in this investment. Firstly, new jobs obviously benefit the citizens of the state and importantly enhance their quality of life. But secondly, by enhancing your infrastructure in the way you are doing it and by making the state more accessible and cutting down on journey times for people and goods in a world where time is money, you're increasing the attractiveness and further the attractiveness of this as an investment hub. And again, it's about maximising further your great location. Any potential investor also cannot fail to note the fortuitous geographical location combined with the recent improvements in transport infrastructure, and that provides easy reach to global markets via Lagos Airport. Of course, potential investors will be very conscious of your significant internal market in Nigeria and an improving national road network as part of the infrastructure revolution across the state. And I gather you can't get in and out of anywhere here except go through your state, and that of course opens up huge opportunities. Also, to secure investment you need to get the message out internationally, which is what we're doing here, that your fiscal policies allow easy repatriation of profits that will focus on tax incentives for capital equipment purchases for new business. And the other lesson that I would suggest respectfully is the dangers of red tape. Nothing frustrates the potential investor more than inordinate delays and being trapped down in endless bureaucracy. Time is money in the business world, and those who place obstacles in the way of quick and rapid entrepreneurial expansion lose more investment than they gain. I know it's an obvious, but I work to create a dynamic business model which involves cutting out unnecessary paperwork, revising the rules in small businesses and making better use of online services to work for future administrative burdens. I know you always have to be careful in these areas, but I think there's much that can be done. Agriculture is my last point, and today I learned a lot from seeing the great natural resource that this state is blessed abundantly with a climate and a topographically that is suitable to both agriculture and forestry. and this includes a wide range of agricultural products such as oil palm, cocoa, citrus and rice, and the state is also rich in the mineral resources, as we heard today. And I know that you're also rich in calcium and carbonate, and that you have huge resources in limestone and bitumen, feldspar, quartz, glass and phosphate, gypsum and other decorative stones, which is a huge natural resource. And I think with such brilliant resources, I'm not surprised that your governor is focusing on economic reform agenda on natural resources, especially the development of agriculture, where you have a competitive and a comparative advantage. By focusing on agriculture, you're playing to your strengths, and this will allow you to diversify your economy here in a far-seeing manner. And the commercial agricultural credit scheme is enhancing development programs right across the state, and I know this will allow you to build on a strong industry through certain research and innovation. And I know that there's a view that in the modern world that foreign direct investment is all rooted in information technology, but nothing could be further from the truth. One of the most famous Irish multinationals, Kerrygold, which is a global brand, and exports and produces butter and cheese in particular around the globe. And in Ireland, our agri-food sector is one of the biggest industries in the country and employs tens of thousands of Irish workers. And exports from the agri-food sector amount to almost 8 billion annually, which is huge from a small country. And with the right policies here, you can create thousands of new jobs through a range of measures, from advanced research to open up new export markets. And I know that you're very anxious for import substitution, which is also something that we did successfully in Ireland. I just want to note the state's natural beauty and the potential that that brings. Your many mutual advantages put this state at the cutting edge of tourism and agricultural industries, and increasingly in Europe, significant opportunities for job creation investment in these areas are underpinned by green enterprise and environmentally sustainable practices. And I know that your policymakers and investors will be looking at these fields as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, may I just say that I think that the government here and the governor deserve great credit for the relentless focus on increasing economic growth, competitiveness, productivity and investment throughout the state, so that investors and the populace at large can enjoy an economic dividend. And I know from my time in government the value of economic planning and the value of marketing your country abroad in an ever-increasing global competitive world. And I'm greatly impressed by the work undertaken by the state government under the leadership of Government Mosen. And I think a key plank of his strategy, like just what we did in my country, is to sustain an environment for international investment that is both flexible, that is business friendly, that is politically stable, and that it is competitive. And to potential investors, those who are watching us, those who are here in this big audience, I want to say that I'm impressed with the commitment here in this state to increase rates of innovation across the economy. And this state is a prime business location and one of the key economies of the future, and I want to wish you well in that. And those who help and inspire and work together as you are doing here, all working together to make this a great state and to move new prosperity, will be making you genuinely a significant contribution. Obviously, I always mention the card that you can't do these things overnight. You can't expect a governor to get up in the morning and have it done by evening. It doesn't help and doesn't work that way. It is those who stick the course, those who stick to a policy, those who believe in the vision that has been set out by your leadership, and those who help to make it happen over a sustainable period. Then you see the benefits, not only for you, but for your children and for the future of this wonderful, wonderful state. I have to say, I envy your natural resources, Governor. I would dearly have loved in my years in office to have the list of the natural resources, and I know that you're all working to make those natural resources work for you. And by getting investments, brings employment, by making people, giving people employment, it helps quality of life. Quality of life means that you can put more money in your budget into improving the services for those that need the help. It is a virtuous economic and cycle, and I know that you're well on the way to making that happen. It's an honour to be here. I think we know this is an opportunity many of you are determined to seize, and I encourage you to work with the officials here who are, last night they were very bright and very good people, and I hope people abroad who pick up on this conference will see that there are huge advantages here. I wish you well, and it's great to spend the time with you. Thank you.